Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ferdiansyah Anwar and my registration number is A1M217040. Today I will explain about the parts of collocation, which is meronymy or part of word. So let's begin. Let's start first with its definition. Meronymy itself is a part of collocation which shows the lexical cohesion. Lexical cohesion, of course, means the cohesion which happen in the area of words. So meronymy shows the relationship between two or more items in a form of general specific relationship. It means that items in an utterance uh, have a relationship between more specific items. That is why meronymy is also called specification. So, uh, meronymy itself is more like, for example, an item conveys several more specific items, or several more specific items include in an item, for example. That is why meronymy follows logical expression like, for example, X conveys Y and Z, and or Y is a part of X, for example. And in to make it more clear, let's see this diagram in here. For example, we can see the relation between general item and more specific item. For example, the general item in here is tree, which conveys three specific items, which are leaves, trunk, and root, for example. Meronymy can also shows the relationship between general items, uh, specific item, and even more specific items. For example, in the second diagram, we can see that the general item in here is English, which conveys uh, the specific items grammar and vocabulary, while grammar as specific item conveys even more specific items, namely syntax and morphology, for example. Meronymy in an utterance shows us the cohesion, which is uh, people can relate that, for example, an item is a part of more general item, which already mentioned before, for example. So we have understand the concept of meronymy. Let's take a look in the examples of utterances that use meronymy. The first example, going outside in this pandemic, it is not recommended to touch face, especially in the area of eyes, mouth, and nose. In this example, the general item is face, while the more specific items are eyes, mouth, and nose. Uh, when understanding this utterance, the the listeners the listeners might see the cohesion between the face, eyes, mouth, and nose, as eyes, mouth, and nose is a part of face. Uh, and then the second example is, I have attended UHO since 2017. I study in Faculty of Teacher Training at English Education Department. This is one of the example of the relationship between general items, specific item, and even more specific items. For example, in this utterance, in the second utterance, the general items is the general item is UHO or University of Haloleo, and the specific item is faculty of teacher training, while the even more specific item is english english education department. So english education department is a part of faculty of teacher training, and faculty of teacher training itself is a part of UHO or University of Haloleo. And the third example is last year I went to South Sulawesi. I visit I, I visited my grandmother in Makassar. Makassar is a area which belongs to South Sulawesi. So when we hear this utterance, there's a cohesion between two items of South Sulawesi and Makassar, which is Makassar is part of South Sulawesi, and South Sulawesi itself conveys Makassar and any other region, for example. So that is my presentation about meronymy and the use in its usage in utterances. Thank you very much for your attention.